Hunter by Joanne Wadsworth. Princesses of Myth, Novella Book 2.5. Chapter 1. A light breeze swirled, scratching nettles against my face where I crouched within the bushes near the enemy's battle training arena. I swatted the brush aside, wishing it were just as easy to eliminate the protectors I could never get rid of. Lieska, I can't believe you did this. Hope, my princess and friend, shoved a pesky branch out of her way. Why'd you teleport us right into the enemy's camp? My warrior hunter instincts are on alert, and this is where they led me, I answered her. A little warning would have been nice. Shush, keep your voice down. If we're found here, it'd look suspicious. Ya think? Hey, you're the one always up for an adventure. This isn't a flippin' adventure. She blew out a long breath. Maybe if we acted like normal people, we'd be less likely to catch a second glance. Or you could consider this a training exercise, I told her. Your new skills could use the practice. And hiding out in a bush is called practice? It's called scouting, and it'll be a handy addition to your warrior arsenal. Yeah, but Silas is one of the enemy. I don't need to be scouting here. Hope peered through the bushes, her long blonde hair snagging in the scrub. He trains in this arena every morning. If he saw me without protection this close to his hangout, I'd be in big trouble. I am your protection. I can't believe you're mated to the enemy, and your twin is soul-bound to their prince. What is this world coming to? Next thing you know, there'll be no protectors on Magio left for me to fight. Actually, the few protectors Faith and I've met haven't been all that bad. Hope squeezed my arm. Sorry. Don't hate me for saying that. Your opinion is skewed. Silas ensures you don't meet any of the protectors outside his inner circle. Prince Davio does the same with Faith. Yeah, which means there'll be hundreds of protectors in there I don't know, and shouldn't know. Her gaze narrowed, and the deep violet denoting her strong wingcrest line, targeted on me. That is danger times hundreds, in case you weren't counting. You'll never be in any danger with me. And you can telepath Silas in a heartbeat, if you have to. Did you not hear me say big trouble? She sighed and rubbed her neck. You've got to tell me. What's really bugging you? I've never seen you this anxious. I don't know. Those with the hunter skill had to hunt their prey, whether we knew who they were or not. The urge ate at us until we did. All I can say is my hunter instincts are blaring at me like never before. Although this time it's different. I want to hunt but not hurt. Well, that's a bonus. She knocked her shoulder against mine. It would have helped if you'd said that in the beginning. How long has this blaring thing been going on? 5 days, but my senses are narrowing in on one. That's why I decided to bring you. So I'm like your wing woman? Yep, I need you to keep me sane. Huh. Give me the easy job, why don't you? She tweaked my chin. Seriously, what happens next? You intend to hunt, then what? I rolled the cuffs of my loose black shirt to the elbow, exposing the sheathed daggers at each wrist, weapons I was never without. The pointy tips sparkled under a sliver of sunlight trickling through. Hunt and fight. The desire always fired my blood, but today it was hunt and hunt and something else. I'm not sure. Be prepared for anything. Anything isn't good. You can hunt but not hurt. Wing woman's orders. Hope plunked her tan Stetson on her head. Unless we can ditch this joint? Wing woman really wants to do that. You wanna get back to the roundup? I'd rather round up cattle than have Silas find out I was here. Nope, the Outback can wait. Wingcrest Station in the Australian Outback was King Donaldo Wingcrest's off-world holding, and where I spent my time when not in Dralion. Goldie and Hope Wingcrest ran the place. You are one stubborn hunter, Lieska. I wish I could port. It'd make my life a lot easier. Chains cranked, and the solid-paneled iron gates at the entrance rolled open. This was what I'd been waiting for. Finally, I'd be able to see inside the 3-story high open-aired arena. It was a beauty with its ancient circular architecture. Wow! Do you see that? Hope whispered. I shoved the brush farther aside and we both poked our noses in. The Protectors' arena was close in size to our fighting forces in Dralion. Their blocked seats were layered back and up and able to hold thousands of spectators. Groups of Protectors trained on the central sandy floor with swords and spears and axes, with likely more beyond. Some of the men wore red tunics with leather-flapped skirts, and they lunged and parried, as accurate with their brutally sharp weapons as any warrior would be. The women trained in their battle leathers. So close. This was the chance I'd been waiting for. It had definitely been right to bring Hope. Hopefully she'd be able to help me keep a level head. Let's go. I gripped Hope's hand and ported us. Everything darkened as I made the short jump through space. Hope wobbled as we arrived near the wall. Lieska, what the heck are you doing? You saw the gate open. It's an invitation I can't turn down. I plucked the sides of my hip-hugging black leather pants. Look at us. I'm dressed no differently to any of the Protector women, and you're completely unassuming in jeans and a t-shirt. Except for this. The Stetson has to go. It screams earth. I nabbed it and tossed it behind a flax bush growing beside the wall. Now no one's going to suspect we're from Dralion unless we announce it. We'll be normal people not catching a second glance. Geez, I hate how my own words come back to bite me. She shook her head. Just make sure you don't announce our arrival your way. No throwing any daggers at the Protectors, because that would be announcing it, in case you weren't aware. I'm aware and I'll try and keep them sheathed maybe. I couldn't stop from rubbing my hands together. Finally I'd have a chance to sort this problem. The hunt was on. I strode in and the breeze lifted my long brown locks and swept strands across my face. 2 men battled close by and one of the men's blades struck flesh and bone. Blood spurted in a wide arc. My blood thrummed to join the fight. Oh yeah. I wish I'd been the one to inflict that wound. The injured man grasped his arm, holding the edges closed. His blood ceased running and his skin began to knit together. A fast healer. Damn. What a shame. Hope puffed as she caught up. Are your senses still on fire? Burning bright. So stay close in case I need to port us out of here quick. I followed the safety rail around the perimeter. My senses flared. There. A man in black jeans stretched as if readying himself for training. The denim molded his butt. He selected a 2-handed sword from the rack, and twirled it in a precise figure 8. Slowly he built up speed, and moved through a series of fluid training moves. He held the battle skills, and only those who had such an affinity for their weapon did. Is that him? The one you're after? Hope hauled me to a stop. Yes, and it appears he needs a battling partner. Wait here. I'll wait provided you agree not to kill anyone. We'll see, just don't draw any attention to yourself. I can't believe you're telling me not to draw attention to myself. Hello. Give yourself your own pep talk. With a huff, she snuck under the railing. She plopped onto the wooden bench and grasped the edge under her knees, squishing her knuckles. I would take my own advice, except I don't think I'm up for listening. That's why I have you. She was one of my best friends, even though she'd accepted a protector as her mate. I could deal. Stroking the hilt of my ever-present side sword, I walked toward the one my senses had flared on. Hey, I called out. You look lonely. Good, keep it casual. He jerked around, his gaze landing on me. Whoa. I missed a step. His eyes were to die for. Stunning gold flickered through the darkest shade of brown. The pinpointed gaze of a hunter. My eyes. He had my eyes and my skill. Who are you? He stood an impressive hand over me, and I was close to 6 feet. Not intimidating but tall enough I notched up my chin. Lieska Alura. Another hunter. Your eyes give you away. As do yours. His nostrils flared as he circled me. I wasn't aware we had a new recruit with the skill. Interesting. Being a new recruit would explain why I was here, except my skills were too advanced. Best to keep as close to the truth as I could. You don't. I came into my adult skills a year ago on my 18th, and I've been training ever since. Not a recruit then. Why'd you walk in? He shot a look at the gate as a horse and cart rumbled in, loaded with supplies. Sorry, it seems the hunter in me couldn't be denied. Civilians aren't permitted within this arena. His gaze moved toward Hope, who watched us with eagle eyes. She's a civilian too, although I've seen her at Loveria Castle with Silas Carver. What's her name? How do you know her? Was this protector within Silas's inner circle? I opened my telepathic link with Hope. Do you know this man? No, I would have said if I did. I've seen him around a couple of times but not formally met him. You're taking care, right? Care is my middle name. Don't give me that. It's more like lunatic. Thank you. That wasn't a compliment. Yeah, but lunatic goes nicely with insane. I waved and then grinned as she scowled. She was so easy to rile. Excuse me. The man cleared his throat. You appear rather relaxed for one who just defied Prince Davio Lovria's rules. No one enters this arena unless sanctioned by him or Silas Carver, his cousin and second. Then let's not tell either of them. I nodded toward Hope. Hope's my friend and also a friend of Silas's, if that's of any help. He'd seen them together, but I wouldn't go into any further detail. I simply wanted to see what all the fuss was about, you know, being a protector and all. I'm itching to hone my battle skills, and I'm picking this is the best place for it. You could help me out with that, right? Although he had a good point about my relaxed state. My hunter skill had calmed and so had I since crossing to him. Strange? Such a thing rarely happened to me, not unless I was amongst my closest. Davio and Silas have taken a team out to Sundrimer. I could let this slide, but only if you both remain within my sight. Are you serious about wanting to join the Protectors? We could use more hunters. As long as I'm allowed to whip some butt today, I might consider joining. I probably shouldn't be trying to antagonize him on his own turf, but I was a warrior. That's what we did. Riling Protectors made our day. What's your name? Cole Cyrano. The wind rushed into him, plastering his shimmery silver shirt to his wide chest. Broad and heavily muscled. So hot. Hold on. I was relaxed and now ogling the enemy? What was going on? Ah, nice to meet you, Cole. I slid my sword free, tapped it against his. Feel free to show me what you can do. And don't go easy on me 'cause I'm a girl. If you say so. He whipped around and his sword slashed down. I moved with lightning speed and met his attack. Our blades crashed dead center, steel ringing loud against steel. I like a man who can fight. I leaned past our crossed blades and tousled his golden brown hair. The silky strands brushed his shoulders, glimmering in the sunlight. Whoa! What was I doing touching him? Get it together. He's a protector. He grasped my hand, his gaze flickering with frustration. Nose to nose, he eyed me. You feel it too, don't you? My heartbeat thumped at his closeness. Yeah, but I have no idea what it is. What's happening? Inside me an urge to be even nearer burned, and I was quite close enough. The bond. He threaded our fingers together. You're my mated one. I've only ever felt the male's drive within the bond toward Earth, and at other times beyond Dralion's protective dome. I've suspected this past year my mate was a warrior, since it's only Dralion's elite who have the freedom to travel. It's why I stayed away from you. Did I get my bearings wrong? Are you a Peacian? Oh my goodness. The truth blazed in his eyes. That's what this was. I'd never in my life felt an attraction to any man, and my skill had brought me here. From the moment I'd seen him, my emotions had settled. We were mated, the soul bond pulsing to life between us. Crap. Cole, I think we have a problem, a very big problem. I was mated to a protector. Only half our people were soulbound. The bond was what I desired, but not with my enemy. Hell, I'm right. You're a warrior from Dralion. We need to talk. Now. In private. Grip tight on my hand, he stalked toward a gap in the rail and tugged me along the first row of seats. I can't leave Hope behind. She can wait here. You said she's a friend of Silas's, which means she's safe enough. I threw open my link with Hope. Change of plans. I'll be back shortly. Go nowhere without me. What's wrong? Should I be worried? His name is Cole Cyrano. My stupid hunter senses led me straight to my mate. I'll be back before you know it though. I've got to dump the big guy. You know the whole dumping thing, Lieska? She snorted down our link. Yeah, not that easy. Don't worry about me. I'll just hang here. If Silas finds out I'm mincemeat, so whatever you do, make the dumping snappy. Are you speaking to her now? Cole continued to tow me along behind him. Yes, and I didn't say I wasn't a Peacian. I had to try and talk my way out of this if I could. He stared into my eyes, the gold in his sparking intensely. We're soulbound, and I can sense when you lie. I can't hurt you, Lieska. It's impossible because of the bond. Hell. If these protectors knew who you were though, they'd slice and dice you. Let's keep moving so they don't. He turned left and strode between two rows that dipped into a darkened corridor. This is the way to the barracks. I have my own quarters, and that's as private as we're going to get. The tunnel came out before a short flight of upward stairs. At the top we passed through double doors and into a bright passageway. Doorways were recessed into paneled walls of pure white. Light streamed in from windows positioned between every other doorway on alternate sides. I slowed before the first window since the passageway remained clear. Wow! Flowers bloomed in a myriad of colors amongst thick green foliage. Talk about cheerful, nothing like our barracks in Dralion, which were dark and gloomy. Nice place. Yes, and one you're only going to visit once. He opened a door. This is my place. Come inside. Are you sure that's wise? Us alone in your room? Inside now, and before someone comes and asks me who you are. I don't care to lie and protect a warrior's butt, even if it is yours. Please, I wouldn't ask it of you. I strode past him and into his quarters, allowing my hunter senses to roam. A massive bed was pressed against one wall, a brown comforter with flecks of gold spread over top. 4 plump white pillows rested against a dark wood headboard, the letters CCC skillfully engraved along it. I take it, those are your initials? Yes, take a seat. No thanks. What does the middle C stand for? I strolled toward his corner desk. In delicate scrollwork on the back of the dark wood chair were the same matching initials. I trailed my finger over the etching. His wooden pen was engraved too, as was the polished stand it sat in. Either you have a fascination with your name, or you have a furniture maker in your family. Maybe. Is this room too distracting for your hunter senses? He leaned against the wall as he eyed me. Nope. Oh, I know. Maybe the C stands for cabinet. Coal cabinet Cyrano. What? It's a wild guess going off the whole furniture maker thing. Come on, you've got to give me something, otherwise I'll think the worst. What about Choo Choo? I drag his full name out of him somehow. He chuckled. Where'd you come up with that middle name? I'm inventive. What about chimpanzee? Are you calling me an ape? I wouldn't do such a thing. I picked up his black leather jacket slung over the padded chair seat. The inside tag again read CCC. I shoved my hands into the sleeves and tugged it on. His jacket swamped me, but cocooned within, I drew in his spicy scent. Why don't you sit and I'll tell you? Is it confident? Sit. I really don't have time to get too comfortable. Although he did have a rather cozy-looking padded couch of beige, with floor-length curtains of the same velvety fabric, tucked behind it. I crossed to his glass door, pressed a hand to its warm surface. Sunlight bathed his private garden. I like the golden roses. Flowers barely survive where I live. And where is that? His hunter skills had him as intrigued as me by the drilling sound of his voice, and it wasn't good to leave a hunter with unanswered questions. I tell him what I could, then get this day over with. There wasn't a chance we could work out any form of relationship. Hope and faith had, but they hid a ton of secrets to make it work. In Dralion, my parents have a cottage in a village near the snow-capped mountains. Snow equals no roses. Then there's the warriors' barracks. Not one garden to speak of there. On Earth, I live on a station in the blazing heat of the Outback. Ah, that explains why I was drawn to Earth. He moved in behind me, his chest brushing my back. Usually such a move would have my defenses on alert. Instead, I eased back and allowed his presence to surround me. He was my mate, the one man meant to be mine. Destiny, though, had backfired with this bond. Lieska, you know what we need to do, right? His voice was a soft murmur in my ear. I sure do. I tugged his jacket tighter around me. Time to break up, not that we've actually gone out, but you know, it's not likely to work. Protectors and warriors don't mix. He stroked my arms. I take it that's why you never came for me. You'd already decided to let our bond pass? There's a war and we'd never suit. I know. I'm not happy you're here, but at least it'll give us the chance to end things the right way. Yep, releasing each other would mean we could move on, even though we still held the other half of each other's soul. Distance and time, though, would aid in the separation. I turned in his arms and faced him. Speak the words I need to hear, Cole. Release me and I'll release you. His gaze intensified. I like your strength. Perhaps the C in your name stands for challenging? Geez, I really had to know. He had to give me something before the hunter in me got really serious. That's not it either. He cupped my cheeks. It's chase. I've always gone after what I wanted, and never deviated from the set course. Cole chased Cyrano. My pulse sped up. I liked his warm hands on my face and the intense look in his eye, all for me. That's why we hunt. Thank you for telling me. Lieska? You got a minute? Hope's frantic voice rang clear in my mind. What's up? I hate to interrupt whatever's going down, but it seems I've attracted some attention. I'll be there soon. We're almost done. Maybe I should have said a lot of attention. Hold still then. I'm on my way. I covered Cole's hands and squeezed. Sorry, but there's an emergency. Hope's in need of a pickup. An urgent one. I flashed us to the safety rail since I had the image. Oh boy, and a lot of attention was right. 4 beefy protectors, their swords drawn, towered over Hope. Shoot. What had she done now? Dralion's princess certainly knew how to find trouble. Chapter 2. Put your weapons away, Cole bellowed as he heaved in front of me and faced the others. This is Hope, a friend of Silas's. I can vouch for her. Wow. My mate was a rather imposing force. Nice. I liked. One of the towering menaces spun around. Cole, she still shouldn't be here. She's a civilian. I was keeping an eye on her. Not a close enough eye. It's okay. I'll leave. Hope eased past the brute in black leathers and whipped in beside me. We're leaving, right? I glanced at Cole. He clapped the man on the back, then urged him and the others away and into the throng of battling protectors. Well, this was it. We didn't suit, and now I'd made him lie to protect Hope and me. I couldn't ask any more of him. A twinge of pain settled around my heart. Dismissing our bond wasn't going to be easy, but we had no choice. I drew his leather jacket collar over my nose and breathed deep. If I had his scent close, I'd manage the separation with more ease, or at least the hunter in me would. We'll leave Hope after one more small task. This won't take long. I flashed us to Cole's quarters. If I was taking something of his to aid me, then I'd leave him something of mine in return. I wriggled my hands back through my shirt sleeves, jiggled about, and managed to remove my black lace camisole. I tugged it over my head, then shoved my arms back into my shirt. Hope gaped at me. What are you doing? We're trackers. Having a piece of clothing that holds our scent will calm the craving to hunt. Taking in the scent is like a fix. And I couldn't go without my shirt or pants, so the slip was it. Are you sure? I've seen dogs go berserk when given a scrap of material to sniff. It makes them want to hunt even more. Did you just call me a dog? I flicked her arm. I'll get you for that later. Sorry. She chuckled. I make the worst wing woman. You just need more practice, and we were pretty much done. I'll leave Cole a note to make sure I've got my bases covered. I folded my camisole and laid it on his bed. At his desk, I scrawled him a message. Dear Cole, I have your jacket, and I'm keeping it. In return, I'm leaving you something of mine. It was nice meeting you and all. Have a fabulous life, and go and chase the one you really want. Yours no more. Lieska. Good. Brief and blunt. I tucked it on top of my slip. Lieska? Where are you? Cole. His voice echoed in my head. No fair. He couldn't go creating a telepathic link of trust with me. That really wasn't on. Lieska, answer me. Should I? No. It was best not to. I need to know you've gotten away all right. Have you left? Holy moly. I better do that now before he thought I might have returned here. I seized Hope's arm and brought the image of Windcrest Station into my mind. I ported us, and we arrived, the red Outback dust swirling and settling over our booted feet. Hope grabbed the corral railing. Whoa! That was fast. Why the rush? I sensed a problem, and now I've averted it. I hugged her. Thanks for coming with me today. It helped having you on hand. No problem. She squeezed me back. And if you need to talk, I'm here. I know how tough it is to be mated. We broke up. Smiling, she patted my back. Sure you did. Okay, I better go and get some actual work done. I'll catch you later. She walked toward the feed sheds, whistling chirpily as if she knew something I didn't. Lieska, I'm in my room. Cole back in my head and sounding very aggrieved. You left me your camisole? Hell. Couldn't you have made it something less personal, to stay my need to hunt? It was all I had on me. Drat. I probably shouldn't have answered him. Where are you? It's okay. I got away without a problem. I strode into the long run of white weatherboard stables, and nabbed my Stetson off the hook in the central holding room. Hope's hat. I'd have to retrieve it for her later. Or buy her a new one. I'm sure she'd understand about getting a new one. I'm in the Outback. How'd you explain our disappearance to your comrades? I didn't. The less said the better. That jacket was one of my favorites, by the way. I'll take very good care of it. I stroked the soft black leather. Promise. I have an old sweater you might like more. I've worn it 1,000,000 times. Lieska. Maslin jogged toward me. Goldie asked me to look for you. That bushfire on the other side of the hills has spread. It's still some hours from here, but winds are now fanning the flames our way. We're going to need all hands on deck for roundup. Have you seen Hope? A minute ago. She was headed toward the feed sheds. Damn. One could count on the land being ripe for bushfires in November, but we were only midway through October. Summer temperatures didn't even spike until after New Year's. What does Goldie want me to do? You're to ride out toward the closest watering hole. If there are strays, herd them down to the river. Will do. You still there, Lieska? Sorry. I grabbed my gear, raced out to the corral and saddled a bay mare. Cole, if you really need the jacket back, I can swap it for the sweater. Hand it to Silas and I'll ask Hope to get it from him. You sound anxious all of a sudden. What's wrong? Bushfires, but some distance away. Sometimes they arrive on our doorstep, and other times, well, they tend to get even closer. Damn. Do you need a hand? No. Heck no. I'll be fine. Any time we spent together would only strengthen our bond. I checked my saddlebags. Water flask and snacks. Good. I folded Cole's jacket and tucked it into one of the pouches. It was hot out, and only getting hotter. I mounted and galloped, giving my mare her head. Adrenaline pumped, blood flowed through my veins and invigorated me. This was life, riding free across the greatest plains on earth. I'm serious about my offer, Lieska. If you're in any danger and need a hand, I'll come. Port back and collect me. There's no danger, or at least not yet. I'll be sure to holler though if there is. Not. I didn't need a protector on warrior soil. That would cause more problems than the bushfires, more unnecessary heat too. I surveyed the northern horizon where rocky ledge ascended. The ledge, a massive red rock sitting on the plains, ran as far as the eye could see. The cloudless sky above was a vivid blue, and clear of any smoke. To the west, a different story hailed. The hills, rising far into the distance, displayed a swath of brown-green bush, one with the bushfire's telltale smog clinging to it. To the east, where the mighty river lay beyond the plains, thankfully it all appeared clear. Where in the outback are you? Give me a location. I need to check for myself. Great. Perhaps I should have stuck around so we could speak the words of release and end our bond properly. Although my mate was a hunter, so his male need to come a-running had likely doubled. Cole, can you do me a favor? I dug my knees in and urged the horse to a faster speed, keeping an eye out for any strays between the homestead and watering hole. You know the bond. If there's anything you truly need, then ask. I need you to close this connection and never open it again. Except that. You said anything. Yeah, but within reason. That's not unreasonable. We broke up. I distinctly remember leaving you a note. You can't speak of bushfires and not expect me to react. Tell me where you are. Don't make me hunt you down. Ha! He'd actually like that. The thrill of the chase was what hunters thrived on. You'd never catch my scent this deep in the outback. Windcrest Station alone is spread over 8,000 square miles. Okay, why was I provoking him? Give me some coordinates. Nope, that's too easy. Which state? The one apparently on fire. Lieska. He growled my name, a dark rumble down our link. Hot tingles raced across my skin. Maybe I'd give him something. He'd never find me out here under the scorching sun anyway. Okay. Soon I'll be coming up on a cluster of bush trees bordering the closest water source to the homestead. Come find me. I promise a reward if you do. What kind of reward? Silky smooth words. You want me to chase you. I can sense it. Think about what you really want, my mate. That's all I'm asking. It's not me, and it's too dangerous for us to pursue this bond. Danger is my middle name. No, it's chimpanzee. It's Chase. He chuckled. And for a very good reason. Hold on to your reins. I'm coming for you. My long hair whipped around my face as I rode low and fast. I bundled the locks of brown under my Stetson, then petted the horse's neck. He'd never find me. Or at least he better not. Gripping the reins, I allowed my love of the outback to comfort me. Tumbleweeds blew across the land, some catching in low brush before the gust freed them and they rolled on. The ride lengthened and I changed my angle toward the east. A half-hour later, the watering hole came into view. Cattle munched on a small patch of grass growing along its shallow bank. I rode in and jumped down beside the half-dry creek bed. At the edge, the sun had baked deep cracks into it. My horse snickered, pushing his muzzle into my back. Are you thirsty, girl? I tied the reins to a low branch, removed my water flask from my saddlebags and poured some into one cupped palm. The horse whinnied, then lapped at the clear drinking water. When she was content, I took a few sips, then tucked the flask away. Even harsh and dry, this was the most beautiful place. I eyed the red rocks rimming the basin. Hold on. What was that? A wisp of black fluttered between two boulders, completely out of place. Hands clamped around my waist from behind. I jumped and thumped back into one very hard chest. A man's spicy scent enveloped me. Turn around, Lieska. I want my reward. Chapter 3. My heartbeat thundered as I whipped around. Oh boy. Cole. It was really him. My mate stood before me when I should never have seen him again. How'd you find me? That should have been near impossible, and never this quick. You dared me. And I've always gone after what I wanted, and never deviated from the set course. Your set course is not me, and we both know it. Although two hunters together would be a striking force. Nope, don't think it. You're not together, and it'll never work. Then don't dare me again. All right. I promise I won't. I motioned toward the non-danger surrounding me. See, you came for no reason. No fire here. He surveyed the smoky hills in the west. Hey. I clasped his face and brought his gaze back to mine. The slight rasp of stubble tickled my fingertips. It's best you don't look over there. Once the danger's gone, we'll get back to our separation. Consider this a hitch in our plans. That's all. He leaned in, bent his head close to my neck. What are you doing? I sank my hands into his soft golden brown hair. And what was I doing? He breathed deep, nose against my flesh. So I wasn't imagining it. Your skin holds the scent of chocolate. Your camisole held a touch of the aroma, but I couldn't figure out why. I use cocoa butter as a lotion. Okay, he didn't need to hear I preferred that over sweetly scented perfumes. Don't stop. Tell me why. His brown gold-flecked eyes sparkled. Great. Apparently he did, and the hunter in him wouldn't rest until he knew. The same happened to me time and time again. In Dralion, chocolate is non-existent. We don't have the land to cultivate the cacao beans. And only warriors can leave your land through the dome. Exactly. This past year I discovered chocolate on Earth. It's everywhere, and with my heightened senses, I've become a bit of a chocolate addict. Have you tried chocolate ice cream drizzled with chocolate syrup, and finished off with a sprinkle of chocolate? Hey! I shoved a finger against his lips. Try not to mention chocolate when I'm out on a job. I've been known to flash straight to my favorite store and buy up large. He smiled. Even your hair shimmers with varying shades of milk and dark chocolate. What was he talking about? I don't think so. It's brown. Just brown. It's silky and long. He tipped off my Stetson and ran his fingers through it. I like this shade. Cole, we're getting rather close. Close is daring. He pulled back and looked into my eyes. I've got to kiss you. Just this once. That's a terrible idea. His mouth dropped over mine and he kissed me, with a hunter's prowess. I clutched his wickedly broad shoulders, flattened myself against him, and kissed him back. We shouldn't do this, I mumbled against his lips. But oh so good. One kiss can't hurt, right? He deepened our kiss, and I was lost as my need for more took over. I kissed him, and my heartbeat raced. More. He was my mate, and it wasn't a bond to be broken. Except, damn it, we pretty much had. What was I thinking, letting this go on? Hands on his chest, I pushed him back, only an inch, but one valuable inch. Okay, wait up. He growled. You shouldn't taste so good. Neither should you. Unable to help myself, I traced his full lips with a finger. I liked the kiss. I'd like another. He sucked my finger into his mouth. Wow. Hot, and I was about to expire as it was. What was your intended reward, my mate? I think you've already had enough of one. Why don't you tell me how you found me? I need to make sure that doesn't happen again. I tracked Silas down in Sundrimer. We shared some information about yours and Hope's visit. He told me about his mated bond with Hope, and Hope's twin sister being mated to my prince. What a mess. I can't believe the deadly secret they're keeping. So he pulled you into his inner circle? He did. I gave him my promise to keep their secret. If Donaldo Wincrest knew of his granddaughter's relationships, he'd forbid them. Only a few of Hope and Faith's most trusted are aware. So Silas said. I won't spill the beans. The wind played with his hair, brushing it back and forth over his shoulders. I itched to touch it again. Focus. Ah, Silas led you here then? Yes. He knew exactly where the closest water source to the homestead was. He stroked my back. I also asked him to take me to places you frequent. We buzzed by the stables, the river, and a couple of the more prominent watering holes. Silas was a pest, and if I could kill him, I would. Sadly, that was no longer an option. He shouldn't have done that. Warriors come and go, Cole. You have to take care. You walked freely into the Protector's arena. I've done no different. Yeah, but I don't ever intend to visit there again. And neither will I drop by the Outback. I simply needed to ensure I had the images for porting. As a precautionary measure. That's all. What about your decision to telepath me? That has to stop too. Once we're done here, I won't get in touch. Promise me. Sure. Now let's get moving on this job you've got to do. He released me and jumped along the rocks. Carefully, he untied my camisole from the stick, folded the silk, and slid into his front shirt pocket. Grinning, he patted his chest. Thanks for this. It appears I don't mind it at all. Don't thank me yet. I intend to swap that for a pair of old woolen socks, and as soon as I can. I grabbed my fallen Stetson and jammed it on. Mates. So frustrating. How did Hope and Faith cope with theirs? Maybe I needed to stand my ground a little more. You ready to go? He asked. Yes. He led the way back to the watering hole. After checking the straps on the saddle, he mounted, then extended a hand. Since there's one horse, we'll ride together. I should make you go saddle your own horse, except I don't want you near the stables. I slipped my hand into his. He lifted me up and settled me in front of him. I nabbed the reins. But I'm in charge. I know where this horse needs to be led. So do I. Away from those smoky hills. Let's get the cattle moving. Arms around my waist, he held on. We're heading to the river. That's what Goldie's asked. It's the safest place for them on the station. Who's Goldie? Goldwyn Wincrest is Donaldo's daughter. She's 19, the same age as me. Her and Hope are close since they grew up together. She keeps the girl's secret too. She certainly won't be happy to hear I'm mated to a protector, but I'll explain that it's over. I tugged on the reins, guided the mare around the cattle. You ride well. He leaned against my back, nuzzled my neck. And this cocoa butter of yours smells good. I like it. Too much. I'll be sure to lather it all over those old socks. He chuckled, then tightened his arms around my waist. Hey! I smacked his hands. A little less of that. I have weapons and I will use them. Of course you will. He blew a soft breath along my neck. I enjoy a little excitement with my danger. Don't you? No. I nudged the horse's flanks and kept a weaving pattern going as I skirted the cattle, urging them forward. It might pay for you to stop talking, Mr. I love danger. He chuckled. It appears I also like teasing you. Well, you're doing a slap-up job. The sun dipped along the western horizon behind us, sending a flare of red into the clouds of swelling smoke. Bushfires were so destructive, taking everything in their path. I had to get this cattle as far out to the east as I could. Will we get to the river by nightfall? This terrain is pretty rough. There's a half moon tonight. It'll be enough to guide our way if we don't. The cattle bawled as I continued to press them on. You sound anxious. If you need to leave, I won't complain. Don't you have duties to attend to? Usually, but after training today, the rest of my day was free. I had intended to visit my parents. Dad's got a special project on and needed a hand with it. What kind of? Nope, don't let him draw you into any personal conversation. Bad move. You were right about there being a furniture maker in the family. Dad's building Mum a glorious new desk. Wedding anniversary coming up. She's gonna love it. Will it be initialed? No. 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 Don't ask any questions. He monograms everything. It's his thing. Look at me. I glanced over my shoulder. I really shouldn't have done that. The gold flecks in his brown eyes shimmered powerfully, weaving me under their spell. We'll get through this, Lieska. He cupped my cheek. I'd rather we not get through anything at all. There must be something I can say to convince you to leave. There's danger, so no. The horse snickered and I faced front. That's it. Keep your attention where it should be, and ignore the hot hunk at your back. Only I couldn't. I leaned back against him, surrounded myself in his solid warmth. His spicy scent enveloped me, comforted me. The hunter in me settled. I was with my mate, and since he wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, I might as well enjoy this stolen moment. I wouldn't have him for long. But if only he'd stop breathing on my neck. Each time his warm breath glided over the pulse in my throat, it sped up. I rode on, pressing the cattle forward. Slowly the sun dropped behind the hills and the sky darkened. Twinkling within the darkest blanket of midnight blue, the stars added a touch of light to the moon's glow. Are we almost there? Soft silky words. Each one tingled my toes. There's a small rise up ahead. Beyond that the river flows. I couldn't get there fast enough. I crested the slope, and spread out before us, fields of lush green grass rippled like quicksilver. The mighty river snaked through it all. These lower fields are thick because of the controlled river releases. Maslin, one of our warriors, has the water skill and drives the water as far as he can inland. There appears to be a lot of cattle here already. A large herd grazed, but nowhere near close to our number of stock. Usually we have 35,000 head, although with the current drought, we're slightly shy of that. Dralion is such an inhospitable land. The cattle and horses we rear on this station provide for those back home. We have to save every animal we can from the threat of the fires. I'll help you. I promise. He searched the horizon. I don't see anyone else on horseback. Neither did I. A bonus for now. The cattle won't want to move much from here. We'll make camp though and keep an eye out in case any get restless. Fires have a terrible habit of spreading when the winds get up. If any warriors turn up though, keep your head down. I won't cause any problems. He smoothed down my arms around my hands, then took the reins from me. There's no ash in the air here. I can't scent a thing. Lieska. A horse and rider rode in from behind. Hope. Her blonde hair breezed over her shoulders. What a sight for sore eyes. Hey, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you. I waved to her. Silas is right behind me. We brought some cattle in too. Breathing fast, she pointed along the darkened rise. Ah, there's the gear Goldie told me she dropped off. Bedrolls and such. She telepathed me and said the four of us can monitor this end of the river belt. Have you spoken to Goldie? No. And I really should have. I'll let her know we've all arrived. Won't be a sec. I searched for Silas among the cattle moving past us from the herd they'd brought in. Our own had joined the other cattle on the plains. Another horse and rider's silhouette appeared, bringing in the stragglers. Silas. He rode tall and strong as he came abreast of us, the moonlight glinting off his short red-gold hair. Dressed in leather pants and a dark shirt, a sword gleaming at his side, he could pass for one of our warriors. He cocked a brow as he eyed Cole. I see you found your mate. I did, but my released mate. Thanks for the bringing me in. No problem. So you've spoken the words of release then? Ah, not formally. Cole shuffled in the saddle, creaking the leather. We'll get onto that, sometime. Heck, that was something we needed to do. The note I'd left him didn't appear to be good enough. A formal release was best. We should do that now we had time. Yeah, why hadn't we done that already? Hope cleared her throat. Okay, Goldie's rounding up around the farthest outreaches with some of the other warriors. She said to say hi to you all. Ha! Sure she did. Silas snorted, then patted his horse's neck. So she knows about Cole here being mated to Lieska? Hope twiddled with her reins. I mentioned it, and then had to cut her off when she started screaming in my head. She flicked my arm. You should have told her. Goldie would have understood. Hello. You're the one who said screaming. You're lucky she understands the position you and Faith are in. I'm fortunate Dad does too. She cut a look toward Silas. Don't say it. I didn't say a word. He sighed long and loud. At least he's not as bad as your grandfather, not that I care to meet either of them. I said don't say it. She slid off her saddle and jumped to the ground with a light thud. King Donaldo would certainly cause problems if he ever heard of his granddaughter's bonds. All hell would break loose for starters, then, well, I didn't even care to contemplate what would come next. Cole rubbed my arms. Why do you feel so tense? I covered his hands with mine. Donaldo rules with precision and determination. For him there is no gray, just black and white. Our people and yours can't mix. We don't. Your dome over Dralion ensures it. He dismounted, reached for me and swung me down beside him. With his hands still on my hips, he brushed a kiss over the top of my head. I looked into his soulful eyes. Except we're not in Dralion right now, and his own granddaughters have mixed. That was their choice, and now I know what's happened. I'm glad no one's taken that choice from them. You are? My parents are soul-bound. He dragged in a deep breath, then shook his head. Never mind. That's not for us. No, tell me about your parents. You don't keep information from a hunter. Sorry, but this time it's best I do. He leaned in and rubbed his nose to mine, a smile on his lips. Relax. He couldn't be serious? He wanted me to relax when any number of warriors could turn up. I motioned toward Silas. Perhaps you've forgotten where you are. Silas would lose that pretty head of his if his true identity were discovered by a warrior not in the know. I don't need you losing yours too. Oh, thanks, Lieska. Silas chuckled. You think my head is pretty? Did you hear that, Hope? She meant your head is big. She got her words mixed up. Hope passed Silas her horse's reins and popped a kiss on his lips. Why don't you go and tend the horses and I'll sort out the bedrolls. Take Cole with you. Sure thing. Hold on. Let me grab my gear first. I snagged Cole's jacket from my saddlebags and tugged it on. The days were hot, but the nights could be cool. I'd need this later. Cole zipped the jacket to my chin. You seem rather attached to this. It smells good. Like spice and all things nice. On my tiptoes, I kissed him. I just couldn't help myself. I'm looking forward to getting the sweater though. I promise. You are the worst liar. Grumbling, he guided our horse away. Silas followed with his and Hope's mounts. Come on. Hope led the way toward the gear. I hated how they can sense every lie we speak, but still, I think you've got Cole sorted. Hardly. Sorted would be him, leaving. Although did I really want him to leave? It would be for the best when he'd only get hurt by staying with me. I flapped out the bedrolls while Hope foraged through the food and set snacks and a bottle of water on each. You don't sound so sure. If you ask me, he looks both frustrated and smitten. I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. Hope sat on her makeshift bed. She kicked off her boots and eased her jean-clad legs out, which means totally sorted. Being mated to the enemy is asking for trouble. I removed my sword belt and Stetson, then set them beside my bed. It's best I not go there. Or you can accept it might be for the best. Just try not to overthink it, and give yourself time. You wanna make the right decision. Except we didn't have time on our side. He'd be gone the moment the fires were under control. Great. I was going to make myself crazy with all the what-ifs if I didn't let this rest. I picked up one of the snacks, a plastic-wrapped chocolate cookie. There was nothing quite like chocolate to bump my mood. A morale booster if ever I needed one. You're supposed to eat the sandwich first. Hope picked up hers, then her cookie, and looked from one to the other as if weighing her choices. I would, but there's chocolate. Go for the cookie. I flopped onto my back, munched and stared at the array of stars. Nature at its most beautiful, even with the threat of fires so close. Silas jogged toward us, unstrapped his sword and plunked down next to Hope. Move over, love. You've got your own bedroll. She nudged his shoulder. Over there. I don't think so. He tipped up her chin and kissed her. Chocolate. Hope, why are you eating the cookie first? Because Lieska is, and she's a bad influence. Cole strode in, tucked his sword near his bedroll, then settled in beside me. What's this about chocolate cookies? I'm certainly aware my mate's a bad influence. I'm not nearly as bad as you, and you're on my bed. I should enforce more space. I shoved his shoulder, his immovable shoulder. Are you going to move? Maybe later. You look like you need a little company. He heaved his bedding closer. What's on your mind? Nothing. Come on. Did you miss the soul bond lesson on thou cannot lie? Because you suck at speaking the truth. Okay, everything's wrong then. Is that better? Sheesh. Were his thoughts as tangled as mine? Right, where shall we start then? With his snacks and water in hand, he relaxed on his side and smiled at me. I'm listening. Tell me what you need. I need you to zap home so I can stop overthinking everything. You've got the image for this place now. You could drop back and pester me at any time. Think of the excitement and danger with that. Wrong answer. And I prefer to pester you now, which I'm getting rather good at. He unwrapped his sandwich and bit into it. You want a sandwich? No. But feel free to give me your chocolate cookie. I shot a look at Hope, hoping to give her a signal that I could use some help, but she and Silas were quietly talking, their heads bent together. She truly needed some serious wing-woman lessons. Here you go. He handed his cookie over. You're really giving me this? Damn. How adorable was that? It's all yours for some information. I want to know more about you. How much time do you spend here? He passed me my water flask. I mean, as compared to Dralion. About half. I took a couple of sips and set it aside. Why? I'm curious. Where do you usually sleep? I almost bopped the cookie over his head, but it would be a terrible waste. I couldn't do that to the cookie. You don't want to know, Cole. You really don't. Don't dare me. Leaving me guessing will only backfire on you. He rolled me in under his shoulder. Spill. Curb my curiosity. You don't fight fair, but you're also lucky I understand. I rested my cheek on his chest and snuggled. I have a room on the homestead's second floor. A perfectly safe room. In Dralion, I have my own quarters in the barracks. And when I manage to pop in to see my parents, I catch a few winks in the sleep-out next to their cottage. That's provided there's a spare bunk. It kind of gets overrun by my 3 younger brothers, so I just go with the flow. All I've ever really needed is a pillow and a warm blanket. I even love sleeping out on the range when we're mustering. He caressed the back of my neck, his fingers warm as he grazed them back and forth against my skin. I almost purred. See, that wasn't so bad. No, not bad at all. I liked being with him. I'm glad you're here, Cole. So am I, he whispered. So am I. His statement rang with truth, as mine had. Trouble, big trouble. The breeze picked up, and I breathed deep, testing it with my heightened senses. Thankfully, it was still perfectly clear of even the smallest taint of smoke. Lieska, it's Goldie. She fired up our link. Hey Goldie, we've still got clear air at the river. Goodness, what was she going to say about Cole? Good. I want you to remain alert though. You know the drill. I sure did. Bushfires could rage for days or weeks, and smoke could drift some distance from the heart of the blaze. New fires often spread through the ash in the air. Lieska, and about being alert. Hope told me about Cole. Give me the rundown. Well. Spit it out. Are you two together? Or is there still a chance I can harm him and you won't get angry? He's helping out. He'll be gone once the fires are out, and no, you can't hurt him. I'd never let her touch him. He was my mate, and I'd keep him safe. As long as he'll be gone, that's music to my ears. I knew you'd be sensible about this. Hope and faith are a lost cause, but you know. I can trust you to do the right thing. Your tone is far too gleeful. I rubbed my chest, hating the ache that the thought of his leaving brought. Lieska, having Davio Loveria and Silas Carver around means 2 protectors too many. Who on earth would want to be soul-bound to the enemy? Not me. Hey, if you need a pep talk, call out. I'll set you back on the straight and narrow in no time. I'll chat to you later, okay? I've got cattle on the move. Yep, later. The straight and narrow was looking less straight and narrow by the second. Who are you talking to? Cole flipped his bedroll over top of us, cocooning us in its warmth. Well, he clearly wasn't moving. And now I didn't care to fight him on it. Each hour that passed was another hour closer to when he'd be gone, and I didn't want to miss a moment of the time we had left. I stroked his chest, calming at the solid feel of him. Goldie, she said to remain alert. Between the 4 of us, we should take a 2-hour shift each and keep an eye out. Close your eyes and rest. I'll take the first shift. Silas. He called out to him over my head. I'll wake you for the second shift. Great. You do that. He and Hope had bedded down much the same as us. I hooked my thumb through the belt hoop of Cole's jeans and played my fingers over his hip. Are you sure you want to go first? I'll go first. He kissed the tip of my nose. Sleep well, my mate. I closed my eyes and relaxed. So peaceful. His mate, yes, even though not for much longer. 4. Warm breath fluttered across my cheek, and Cole's arms banded tightly about me. I stretched my legs and rubbed my feet over his. Each time during the night when I'd stirred, he'd urged me back to sleep. He and Silas had continued taking shifts, one after the other, and neither would be denied. Stubborn times 2. The night was almost over though, a hint of light along the horizon giving evidence sunrise was close. I edged up on one elbow and peeked at him. He lay awake, his golden brown hair a rumpled mess and his chin sharp with a raz of stubble. So cute. Why did he have to be a protector? My soul ached for more. You're going to be too tired if you don't catch a few more winks. I'm good. I slept half the night. He tucked me back against him. I like having you close. Me too. Boy, did I like it. I glanced behind me toward Hope. She was stirring while Silas sat watching her with a smile. He leaned forward and dropped a kiss on her forehead. He murmured to her, so softly I hadn't a chance of catching the words. Half our people were mated. It was what I wished for too. I faced Cole and then got lost in his beautiful eyes. Tell me what you're thinking. I need to know, Lieska. My throat dried and my eyes misted. I ducked my head under his chin so he wouldn't see my threatening tears. He was going to leave soon, and I was stronger than this. I wasn't going to cry. I could deal with the decision we'd made. Hey, morning you guys, Hope called out. Oh, thank heavens. I blinked rapidly then rolled toward her, beyond glad for the diversion. Hey, back at ya. Did you sleep all right? You know me. I always sleep like a dream when I'm out under the stars. She eased to her feet, tucked one loose violet shirt tail into her jeans, and stared toward the western bushline. It's hard to tell from this distance what's going on over there. Hand to her forehead, she searched the area south toward the homestead. And it seems even hazier in that direction. Strange? I wonder what's going on toward home. I cranked around to look. Why would there be so much smoke near the homestead? Silas. Up you get. Hope pulled on her riding boots. I need you to port me into town. Fire department. Let's go check in with local enforcement and get an update. Gotcha. He shoved his boots on, then held onto her. The two shimmered and disappeared. Checking things out was a good idea. I eyed Cole. I'll do the same. I'll whip home and take a look around, get changed and stuff. Can you hold the fort here while I do? I wriggled up, then found myself flat on my back, Cole above me. I can, but let's get one thing straight. The gold flecks in his hunter eyes flared. If you don't want to end our bond, then tell me. I cupped his face, rubbed his cheeks with my fingertips. Has anyone ever told you your morning manner needs some improvement? You're far too demanding. No one's mentioned it yet, but thanks for the up. He lowered his mouth to mine and kissed me, one very hot morning kiss. My heartbeat thumped out of rhythm. I kissed him back, overwhelmed by the new emotions stirring within me. Oh, why did he have to kiss like a dream? Too soon he pulled away, heaved himself to his feet, and lifted me to mine. I expect you back here in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? You can't be serious? Very serious. I grabbed my boots, Stetson and sword. Not prepared to argue further, I ported fast. I needed a break from him. It might clear my head. I arrived in my room, one Hope and Goldie had insisted I have near theirs instead of outside in the barracks. I adored this space, well, except for the snowy white carpet, since I was always getting endless red dust on it. I tramped across it in my socks and tossed my gear onto my queen-sized bed, which took pride of place against one wall. I slipped Cole's jacket off and folded it neatly next to my sword on the golden bedcovers. Goodness, I really liked his jacket. I wasn't looking forward to getting the sweater at all. At the window, I eased the white lace nets aside. A copse of gum trees near the corral, more brown than green, swayed in the wind. And the smoke. Shoot, it was so thick. It clogged the air. That's why there'd been such a haze in this direction. There had to be fires burning close to here. I shoved open my link to Goldie. Hey, I'm at the homestead. Great. I need someone there. Hope and Silas just gave me an update. The state firefighters are close to you. They brought teams in a couple of hours ago. They began backburning in an attempt to snuff this fire out. I wasn't aware of it, but it might mean more smoke your way as their operation spreads back to the west. The smoke is thicker. Are you sure the backburning is heading in the opposite direction? Positive, but as a precautionary measure I want you to port the horses to the river. We don't need them suffering from any fumes. Keep your hunter senses covered up too. I don't want you breathing in anything toxic. Okay, gotcha. I've got this covered. I raced to my dressing room, changed into a pair of skinny red jeans and a bright red blouse. Best to remain a beacon of color with all this smoke about. I added a red and black check neckcloth, lugged on my boots, and strapped on my sword belt. I flashed to the kitchen, dropped bread into the toaster, and poured a glass of orange juice. I'd need sustenance to get through today. You're a minute late. Cole's deep voice bounced inside my head. Don't make me hunt you down. I'm grabbing a bite to eat, but hunt me down if you want. I couldn't keep the longing from my voice. Let the hunter hunt. Hope and Silas have returned. They mentioned the backburning. Goldie just told me about it too. I've got to port the horses to the river. You keep those cattle in line over there. I'll be back soon enough. Silas and Hope can look after the cattle here. Hold on. I won't be a moment. My toast popped and I slathered it in chocolate spread. I'm back in Peacio. What? He couldn't be. That was a surprise. If you've got other things to do, I understand. The only thing I have to do is change, then lasso you into line. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the lassoing isn't going to happen. I'm on my way back. Good for you. Don't be cheeky. Ha! Not possible. I took a bite of my toast, then peered out the wooden square-cut window. Along the dusty path from the stables, Cole stormed toward me. Wow! He cut an impressive figure in dark leathers and belted side sword. The hem of his white shirt fluttered loose under his tan leather vest. His gaze clashed with mine through the glass. Where's the door? He yelled out. Follow the path to the front porch. There's a wide open foyer. Take the first door on your... He leaned against the window pane, got the image and flashed inside. Or you could just do that. Impatient much? Like you wouldn't believe. Hands on the metal sink either side of me, he leaned in and breathed deep. If he came any closer, I'd kiss him. More chocolate. I am going to form an addiction myself, if I hang around you much longer. Hey, don't sass the chocolate. I ducked under his arm and set more bread in the toaster. After it popped, I spread both pieces with extra chocolate spread and passed him a slice. You want juice too? Yes, please. I poured, then nudged the glass across the countertop toward him. Outside, the smoke continued to thicken. That back burning is certainly close. It better be working. Hope said the firefighters know their stuff, and I'm ready to move those horses when you are. You're almost ready. I pulled a toweling cloth out of the drawer, draped it over his nose and tied it in place at the back of his head. Thank you for all your help. I wouldn't be anywhere else. He lifted my red and black check neckcloth over my nose. Right. We're all set to go. What's the drill? We have over 200 breeding mares plus foals, and they all need to be moved. How do you intend to contain them at the river? Leads. There's a fence line down there, so we'll tie them to the posts. That should work. I flashed us to the stables. Smoke swirled through the air of the wide central holding room, obliterating the grassy scent of the hay bales stacked to the ceiling. Use whatever you need from in here. There's plenty of tack hooked on the back wall and tons of rope in the side room. I pointed toward the back door. Out that way are the fenced yards where we keep the mares and foals. He caught my hand and squeezed it. Promise me you'll be careful. I will, and you too. No getting hurt on my turf. You take the outside area and I'll move the mares close to birthing from down these corridors. That'll be about half each. Go. I nudged him toward the back door. You stay safe or else we'll be having words. He backed up, his fired gaze on me, and then slowly he turned and disappeared through the door. Staying safe would be letting him go and living his life, but I couldn't keep denying the strength of our bond. What would it be like if we accepted it as Hope and Silas had done? What was between us would only develop and grow. I closed my eyes as longing swept through me. Damn, I was falling, and fast. Horses whinnied. I needed to get them out. I raced to the first stall. I ported each mare, taking extra care to secure them farther away from where Cole tied the mares. We passed each other going back and forth. As the hours rolled on, the humidity rose off the charts. Hope and Silas rode the perimeter of the grassy river belt, keeping the cattle contained as more herded cattle arrived. Gee, it was lucky the other warriors were so busy they hadn't yet asked about the 2 extra hands. It helped Silas had his Stetson low and Cole the cloth over half his face. At the homestead the smoke continued to blow in, thick with red outback dust swirling within. I scrubbed my eyes with my knuckles. The bitter choking haze clogged my throat and wiped out my vision. Such a raging, suffocating heat. I groped the walls of the paneled corridor and fumbled along until I reached the end stall. This should be the last one. I unclipped the catch and stumbled inside. Where are you, Lieska? I can't see a damn thing. There's more smoke inside these stables now than outside. Cole's voice pounded down our link. I'm here. Last mare. I won't be long. I coughed and spluttered. Are you keeping the foals calm? They fought the foreign restriction, but at least they were safe. I've got them sorted, I'll head back to the river with this last colt. You better be right behind me. Yes, right behind you. I plucked my sweat-soaked shirt from my skin. I patted the air, then knocked into the horse. With my foot. Damn, she was on the ground. On my knees I stroked the mare's slick neck. She snorted, then whinnied as if in pain. Oh hell. One in labor. Porting a mare in this condition was asking for trouble. Gasping for breath, I worked at soothing her first. A precious minute ticked by. 2. Lieska? Cole's voice echoed in my head, yet as if from a distance. I coughed and wheezed. I had to get this mare out of here. My throat tightened and constricted. Answer me. His tone held a deadly bite. I fought to get another breath in, managed a pitiful amount of air. Focus. Port her. You've done everything you can. She has to go like this. My lungs burned. My vision swam and then nothing. My chest exploded with pain as a crashing weight came down on it. Damn it, Lieska. Breathe. A hot mouth covered mine, pushed air deep inside. My lungs were on fire. Another thump over my heart, then another, and another. That had to be Cole, and he needed to stop that pounding. Breathe. Now. I wanted to, just so I had enough air to yell at him. Light flared behind my closed eyelids, shoving away the last of the darkness. I dragged air in, and it scraped painfully along the sides of my throat. That's it, love. Take another breath. He held me, surrounded me. Everything I wanted. Cole. I croaked his name. You truly are the most difficult mate. Hoarse words. I swear you will never put your life on the line like that again. Do you hear me? Not quite sure. I shoved open my heavy lids, and his beautiful gold-flecked gaze searched mine. I coughed. Something about hearing you, but I can't do that if you leave me. Take a drink. Your voice is far too scratchy. Water dribbled over my lips. Nice. I opened my mouth and more trickled down my scorched throat. It's just as well you fast heal. Hurry it up. Could he get more demanding? Still I kept lapping at the cool water, each sip going down easier, smoother, better. That's it. Lips pressed to my forehead. I don't want to leave you either. We need to, I coughed, cleared my throat and tried again. We need to talk. He lifted me higher in his lap, then brushed his lips over mine. I thought I'd lost you. As it appears, I'm a little hard to get rid of. A tear welled in the corner of his eye. When you were in danger, my soul cried out for yours. I'm sorry, Lieska, but I can't give you up. I think I've known it all along. You can't? I clutched his sooty shirt front. I'm struggling too. But how can we make this relationship work? We're hunters. Nothing will truly stop us if we desire it. He smiled, and I'd never seen him look so happy or determined. Say you'll hunt with me. We'll pursue this bond. You hold the other half of my soul, and I yours. I'll never want anyone other than you. Agree. Say yes. I wanted him to, so badly. I do like kissing you. You promise to keep that up? You have my word. So is that a yes? I grinned and, unable to help myself, murmured, "Kiss me and find out." I dare you. He looked deep into my eyes, bent his head, and kissed me. My heart soared and my soul called to his. Oh, I had my mate, and I'd never let him go. It was time to live my life with him. The hunter had succeeded in the hunt. Chapter 5. I leaned against Cole's chest as he wrapped his arms around me from behind. We stood at the edge of the mighty river, which pulsed with life. Ducks hidden within the reeds cackled and took flight. Their wings brushed the glistening surface as they swept across the wide expanse to the other side. Above, the skies were a brilliant blue, without even a wisp of cloud. The Outback had returned to its most striking, the back-burning operation a huge success. Within days the firefighters had stamped the fires out, more than a fortnight passed. Now the cattle, thousands of head, grazed along this green belt and far into the distance. I love this place. I wriggled against him, so at peace. I noticed. He rubbed his chin over the top of my head. Though it's still far too hot today. I think I should stick around and make sure none of those fires decide to flare up again. Good idea. He wouldn't hear a complaint from me. Whatever time we could steal to be together was the best. Did you wanna see CCC? The newborn colt's become quite attached to you. After Cole had saved me, he'd returned to the stables and rescued the laboring mare. She'd birthed her foal, and I'd named the young one Cool Calm Collected after the man who'd saved her. I'd rather become more attached to you. I turned and kissed him, my heart filled with love. How could I have ever wanted to give him up? What are you thinking? His hunter eyes gleamed. That you deserve a reward for capturing this warrior. What kind of reward? Trust me. You're going to love it. I wriggled out of his hold and stepped back. Where are you going, my love? I kept moving, one step at a time. He stalked me. Chase me and find out. Laughing, I ported. He'd catch me. I had no doubt he would. And his prize? A lifetime of hunting me. This has been Hunter. By Joanne Wadsworth. This audiobook has been auto-narrated. Copyright 2014. Audiobook production copyright 2022. You can find more information about all Joanne's books by visiting her website at joannewadsworth.com.